The 6-digit code that would either save Amira Hassan's mother or destroy what remained of her dignity sat behind 3 inches of brushed titanium, and she had exactly 90 seconds to prove she could read it without anyone telling her what it was. For hours earlier, a claw occupied the entire 52nd floor of Chicago's Aon Center, where the Lake Michigan horizon stretched like beaten silver beyond floor-to-ceiling windows that cost more per square foot than most Americans spent on their entire homes. The restaurant's interior was a study in controlled opulence. Hand-carved walnut paneling from sustainably harvested French forests, tables crafted from single slabs of Calicut marble, and lighting fixtures by Ingo Maurer that cast patterns like captured starlight across pristine white tablecloths. A single tasting menu cost $850 per person, wine pairings extra, with reservations booked 23 months in advance. Amira Hassan moved through this cathedral of wealth like a shadow in reverse, entirely visible, yet somehow never truly seen. At 27, she wore a class regulation uniform with mechanical precision. Crisp white shirt pressed to knife-edge creases, black vest without a single thread out of place, her dark curls ruthlessly contained in a regulation chignon that left her temples aching after hour 6 of any shift. Exhaustion had carved itself into her posture, a permanent slight forward lean as though bracing against wind that never stopped blowing. She had been standing for 13 hours. Her shift had started at 9 that morning and wouldn't end until 2 the following morning, a double shift she'd volunteered for because the extra $180 in wages meant her mother's at-home oxygen delivery wouldn't be interrupted this week. Tomorrow she would work another double. And the next day, because stage 4 pulmonary fibrosis didn't care about labor loss, and neither did the $480,000 in medical debt that had metastasized through their lives like the scarring in her mother's lungs. 26 months ago, Amira had been completing her PhD in applied mathematics at the University of Chicago, specializing in cryptographic analysis and pattern recognition. She had published papers on prime number distribution that caught attention from both academic journals and quietly interested government agencies. A position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton had been waiting. Then her mother's diagnosis had arrived: idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, brutal and irreversible. And suddenly Amira was choosing between watching her mother suffocate slowly over 6 months or pursuing experimental treatments that insurance deemed not medically necessary. The decision hadn't really been a decision at all. Tonight's crowd represented Chicago's apex predators in their natural habitat: private equity titans, real estate dynasty heirs, tech moguls visiting from both coasts. And at table 12, positioned with commanding views of the city's western sprawl, sat Julian Rothschild Tate III, founder and CEO of Sentinel Dynamics, a defense contracting empire valued at $11.4 billion. Tate himself possessed a personal fortune of $3.2 billion, according to the most recent Bloomberg Billionaires Index, a figure he reportedly checked daily. At 48, Tate embodied a particular strain of inherited wealth turned entrepreneurial legend that Silicon Valley and Washington both courted aggressively. His Khitan K50 suit, bespoke, $50,000, requiring 50 hours of hand tailoring, draped across shoulders, kept athletic through private trainers and boutique fitness clubs that charged $40,000 annual memberships. His Tom Ford shoes, custom-made, cost more than Amira's monthly rent. His watch was a Richard Mille RM56-02 sapphire, transparent and skeletal, priced at $2.2 million. He sat with 8 guests, board members, and potential investors. From their conversation, and a custom-built Sentinel X900 safe positioned beside his chair like an obedient dog. The safe was the size of a large briefcase, matte black titanium with a digital keypad, and reportedly featured military-grade encryption algorithms that Tate's own company had developed. According to the breathless coverage in Forbes and Wired, the X900 was mathematically unbreakable without the access code, featuring quantum-resistant encryption and pattern recognition prevention systems. Tate kept gesturing to it during his conversation, clearly enjoying the curiosity it generated. Amira had refilled his water glass 3 times and heard fragments. $47 million in bearer bonds inside. And entire board of directors couldn't crack it. And algorithmic complexity beyond conventional approaches. She was pouring wine at table 12 when one of Tate's guests, a silver-haired venture capitalist named Morrison, tapped the safe with his knuckle. "Julian, this demonstration you keep promising. Show us how impenetrable this thing actually is." Tate's expression shifted into something predatory playful, the look of a man about to perform a party trick that doubled as ego reinforcement. "I'll do better than demonstrate. I'll offer a challenge." His voice rose slightly, pitched to carry to neighboring tables. The restaurant's acoustics were superb. Within seconds, nearby conversations had dampened, attention redirecting. The safe contains bearer bonds worth $47 million. Inside is also the encryption key to Sentinel's new government contract specifications, worth considerably more if someone knew how to use it. Tate smiled. "I'll give anyone in this restaurant 5 minutes to open it. If you succeed, you keep everything inside. If you fail, nothing lost. Just pride." Silence. Then nervous laughter from several tables. Someone called out, "What's the catch?" "No catch. Except," Tate's smile widened, "I won't tell you the access code, obviously. The X900 requires a 6-digit numerical password. That's roughly 1 million possible combinations. The system allows 3 attempts before permanently locking and alerting our security division. So essentially, you have 3 chances out of 1 million. Anyone want to try their luck?" More laughter, this time more relaxed. No one moved. Tate was clearly enjoying himself. Amira was turning away when Morrison noticed her. "Hey, how about her? The waitress. Let's see if she's feeling lucky tonight." The attention in eclat shifted with the weight of a physical thing. 50 faces turning in unison, designer-clad bodies angling in chairs, conversations dying mid-sentence. Amira froze with her wine bottle still tilted at a 15-degree angle, the exact posture taught in service training to prevent drips. Her exhaustion-carved face remained neutral, but her grip on the bottle tightened until her knuckles showed white against brown skin. Julian Rothschild Tate swiveled in his chiton suit to examine her, as though she were a newly noticed piece of furniture that had unexpectedly proven functional. His expression held amused condescension, the look wealthy men got when they believed they were being magnanimous while actually being casually cruel. "Excellent idea, Morrison." Tate gestured at Amira with the careless authority of someone accustomed to treating human beings like props. "Come here, Miss Hassan, sir." Her voice came out steady despite the sudden acceleration of her heartbeat. "Amira Hassan. Miss Hassan, have you ever tried to crack a safe before?" He was grinning now, playing to his audience. Several guests chuckled. "No, sir." "Well, tonight's your lucky night. Come on. Take 3 guesses at the code. If you somehow manage to guess correctly, 1 in 1 million odds, you can have everything inside. $47 million. Think what you could do with that kind of money. But you could quit this job, right?" More laughter from the surrounding tables. Amira should have declined politely. Should have smiled, played along just enough to be gracious, then returned to her station and her invisibility. But she was standing on hour 13 of consciousness. Her mother's oxygen concentrator was 2 payments behind, and she was staring at a man in a $50,000 suit who thought 1 million to 1 odds were the same as impossible. She set down her wine bottle on the marble table with careful precision. "Sir, if I attempt this, and I fail, will it affect my employment?" Tate waved a dismissive hand. "Of course not. It's just entertainment. No harm done." He glanced at his guests. "Unless you're worried about being embarrassed?" The words hum with calculated cruelty. Amira recognized the trap, declined, and seemed cowardly, accept and provide amusement through inevitable failure. "I'll try, sir. But I'd like to make one request first." Tate's eyebrows rose. "A request? You haven't earned anything yet." "I understand. But if by some chance I succeed, I'd like you to donate half the bearer bonds, $23.5 million, to pulmonary fibrosis research at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. I'll keep the encryption key and the remaining bonds." The restaurant went completely silent. Tate stared at her as though she'd spoken in Tom's. Morrison let out a bark of surprised laughter. "You're negotiating the terms of a challenge you have no chance of winning?" Tate's voice carried genuine disbelief now. "That's..." He trailed off, then laughed. "Actually, that's hilarious. Fine. Sure. If you somehow crack military-grade quantum-resistant encryption with 3 random guesses, I'll donate half to your charity. Hell, I'll double it. $47 million to your hospital. Deal, deal, Amira said quietly. She approached the safe. It sat on a custom stand beside Tate's chair, a level when standing, its matte black surface drinking in light. The digital keypad glowed with cool blue numerals 0 through 9, plus enter and clear buttons. The display above the keypad showed 3 horizontal lines, indicating 3 attempts remained. Tate leaned back, arms crossed, supremely confident. Take your time. Think really hard. Maybe your lucky numbers? Birthday? Though I should mention the code changes weekly via algorithmic generation, so it's not like I picked something personally meaningful. Just 6 random digits, chosen by computer. He was smiling. The system is literally designed to prevent pattern recognition attacks. We built a randomization protocol specifically to defeat human intuition. Amira stood, perfectly still, staring at the safe. But she wasn't looking at the keypad. She was looking at Tate's watch. The Richard Mille RM56-02 sapphire was transparent, its entire movement visible through sapphire crystal case. Every gear, every spring, every microscopic component exposed to view. And Tate, like most people wearing expensive watches, had a habit. She'd noticed it while pouring wine. Every few minutes, his left wrist rotated inward, an unconscious micro-gesture to check the time. The movement was subtle, barely noticeable, but consistent. May I ask a few questions before I begin, sir? Tate shrugged magnanimously. Ask away. Won't help you. The code changes weekly? Correct. Is it generated at a specific time each week? Monday mornings. 00 hours. Midnight Sunday, technically. Tate was enjoying this, clearly believing her questions were stalling tactics. His guests watched with amused expressions. And today is Thursday, so the current code was generated 4 days ago. This past Monday at midnight. Amira's voice remained level, conversational. Correct again. You're very good at stating obvious facts. The algorithm generates 6 random digits. Does it allow repeating digits? Yes. It's a true random selection. Any 6-digit combination is possible. Between 0 and 999,999. Obviously, Amira nodded slowly. She pulled her regulation issue server pad from her vest pocket and a pen. Sir, would you mind telling me the exact time right now? Tate glanced at his wrist, that same unconscious inward rotation. 9:43 and 37 seconds. Thank you. Amira wrote something on her pad. One more question. The algorithm that generates the codes, was it developed by your company? Of course. Sentinel Dynamics created the entire X900 security system in-house. So it uses Sentinel's proprietary random number generation protocol. The same protocol described in your company's technical white paper published last year for the Pentagon contract bid. The one using modified Mersenne twister algorithm with Redrand seed augmentation. The smile began to fade from Tate's face. The restaurant had gone beyond silent into something approaching suspended animation. Diners frozen mid-bite, servers along the walls like statues, even the ambient kitchen sounds seeming to hold their breath. Julian Rothschild Tate III stared at Amira Hassan as though she'd pulled off her face to reveal something impossible underneath. How do you know about our Pentagon white paper? His voice had lost its casual arrogance, replaced by sharp attention. That's not exactly light reading. I read it 22 months ago, sir. I was writing my dissertation on weaknesses in pseudo-random number generation for cryptographic applications. Your company's paper was fascinating, genuinely innovative use of Mersenne twister modification, but it had one elegant vulnerability. Amira kept her voice professional, academic, as though she were presenting findings at a conference rather than standing in service uniform. The Redrand seed augmentation, which pulls entropy from quantum noise, is excellent. But your implementation includes a fallback mechanism for hardware failure. If the quantum entropy source is unavailable, the system seeds using system time instead, specifically, Unix timestamp at moment of code generation. It's buried in Appendix 7C of the technical specifications. Tate's face had progressed from amused to alert to something approaching horrified fascination. Morrison leaned forward in his chair. Julian, is that true? The fallback mechanism is for emergency situations. Tate was recovering his composure, but his voice carried defensive edges. And even if someone knew that, they'd need to know the exact millisecond the code generated, which is impossible without. Without knowing when the code generates, Amira said quietly, which he told me, Monday midnight. And without knowing how your modified Mersenne twister processes the seed, which is in your published paper. And without knowing the specific transformation algorithm that converts the generated number into a 6-digit display code, which is also in the paper, figure 12b. She tapped her server pad with her pen. But there's a simpler tell, sir. You check your watch constantly. Every few minutes, same gesture. It's a beautiful watch. The RM56-02 is extraordinary, completely transparent, and I can see the movement from 8 feet away. I've been serving your table for 90 minutes. You've checked the time 17 times, and every single time, you've done this. She mimicked his unconscious wrist rotation. Your watch is synchronized to atomic time because Sentinel's security protocols require all devices to maintain synchronized clocks. It's in your company's security policy document, which means I know precise current time. I know the code generated Monday at midnight, exactly 96 hours, 43 minutes, and she glanced at his wrist again, 49 seconds ago. I know the algorithm. I can work backward. Tate had gone completely still. Around them, the restaurant held its collective breath. Amira looked down at her pad, where she'd written a series of calculations. Unix timestamps, modular arithmetic, algorithmic transformations. Her hand, steady now, exhaustion burned away by pure mathematical focus, wrote 6 final digits. She turned to the safe's keypad. Sir, I should mention, I might be wrong. I'm working from memory of a paper I read almost 2 years ago, and I'm calculating in my head while extremely tired. If I'm wrong about the fallback mechanism being active, or if I've miscalculated the timestamp conversion, or if any of my assumptions are incorrect, this won't work. Then don't. Tate started, but Amira had already pressed the first digit. She entered 6 numbers in steady sequence, 7-4-1-0-9-6. The keypad display cleared. For 3 full seconds, nothing happened. The silence in a class stretched to breaking point. Then the safe emitted a soft electronic chime, and something inside went click, the unmistakable sound of titanium bolts retracting. A green LED illuminated. The door swung open on balanced hinges, revealing neat stacks of bearer bonds and a sealed metallic envelope marked classified in red letters. Someone at a nearby table dropped a fork. The clatter sounded like breaking glass. Julian Rothschild Tate, 3, sat frozen, staring at the open safe containing $47 million and the encryption keys to his company's government contracts, cracked open by a waitress using a pen and paper in under 2 minutes. His voice emerged strangled. That's impossible. The quantum entropy system should have. The quantum noise generator in the X900 failed 6 months ago, Amira said quietly. There was a product recall notice on your website in March. The safe reverted to time seed generation. You probably didn't notice because the code still worked perfectly. They're still cryptographically strong for brute force attacks, but they're mathematically deterministic if you know the seed. Morrison let out a low whistle. Several of Tate's guests had pulled out their phones, already typing urgently. Amira recognized the look. Board members realizing they had a catastrophic security vulnerability in every X900 safe they'd sold to military contractors, banks, and government agencies. Tate stood slowly. When he spoke, his voice had stripped away all pretense of casual superiority. Who are you? Actually, Amira Hassan. I was a doctoral candidate in applied mathematics at the University of Chicago. I specialized in cryptographic analysis. I was 3 months from defending my dissertation when my mother was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Her treatment cost $480,000 that insurance wouldn't cover. I withdrew to work full-time. That was 26 months ago. The words fell into silence heavy with recognition. A woman at table 9 was openly crying. Tate stared at Amira with an expression cycling through shock, horror, and something approaching awe. You cracked military-grade encryption with mental math and a server pad because you've been waiting tables to pay for your mother's medical treatment. His voice was flat, processing. And you're still working here. He stopped. Started again. The safe is yours. Per our agreement. $47 million in bearer bonds, encryption key, everything. Amira carefully removed the bearer bonds, handling them with the same precise care she used for expensive wine bottles. And your matching donation to Northwestern Memorial, sir. $47 million for pulmonary fibrosis research. Yes, of course. I'll have my foundation wire it tomorrow. Tate pulled out his phone with shaking hands. But Miss Hassan, Amira, I'm also offering you a position. Chief Cryptographic Security Officer at Sentinel Dynamics. Base salary $850,000, full benefits, stock options, and I'll personally pay off every cent of your mother's medical debt. Today, right now. He was typing rapidly. What's the total? $480,000. $483,612, Amira said quietly. As of last week. Done. Consider it paid. He looked up from his phone, and his expression had transformed completely. No longer arrogant, no longer dismissive, but urgent with the intensity of someone recognizing a catastrophic mistake. You just exposed a vulnerability in security systems we've sold to the Pentagon, NATO, 48 Fortune 500 companies, and 6 sovereign governments. We need you, not as charity, because you're clearly the smartest person in this room. Morrison stood, pulling out his own phone. Julian, I'm also bidding. My firm will match whatever he's offering. Plus 10%. I'll beat that, someone called from table 9. Amira held up one hand, and somehow, exhausted, still in her server uniform, barely 95 pounds of tired graduate school dropout, commanded instant silence. Mr. Tate, I'll accept your payment of my mother's medical debt, because you offered it, and because she deserves to breathe without me choosing between oxygen and rent. Her voice was steady. I'll accept these bearer bonds because you wagered them publicly and I won them fairly. I will consider your job offer, but I need time. I've spent 26 months invisible. I'd like a few days to remember what it feels like. To be seen. She turned to the restaurant manager, who stood against the wall with tears streaming down his face. Gerard, I need to resign. Effective immediately. I hope you'll understand. Gerard crossed the dining room and pulled her into a fierce hug. Go, he whispered. Go home to your mother. Tell her what you did. Be visible. Amira Hassan walked out of the claw at 10:47 p.m., 7 hours before her shift was supposed to end. She walked out carrying $47 million in bearer bonds in a cloth bag Gerard had found, with 17 job offers captured on her phone, with her mother's medical debt zeroed out, and with something she hadn't felt in 26 months, the absolute certainty that her mind, the brilliant, pattern-recognizing, mathematically precise instrument she'd been forced to suppress, was not wasted, was not gone, had simply been waiting. She rode the elevator down 52 floors, walked out into Chicago night air that smelled like coming rain, pulled out her phone, and called her mother. Mama, she said in Arabic, her voice breaking. I'm coming home, and we're going to be okay. Let me tell you what happened tonight. Above her, the Aeon Center's lights scattered across Lake Michigan's surface like visible proof that impossible things happened when brilliant women were finally given the chance to be seen.